TRT. Do you need it or not? That is the question that I want to help you answer in this video that I'm going to do my best to keep as short as possible, but it definitely deserves your undivided attention because this information that I want to share with you could potentially help you not do something that you might not want to do for the rest of your life. Now, I'm not saying that TRT is bad. Nowhere will you ever hear me say that, but I do want to reveal some information to you that maybe you have not yet thought about as you go through this process of trying to understand whether or not you want to put an exogenous synthetic hormone into your body that your body should naturally be producing on its own. And that is my argument, that I know that given the right lifestyle intervention, men can have a positive effect on their testosterone, regardless of what you're hearing on the internet. So I have a few points here on the whiteboard that I want to share with you, and I'm going to go through them and try and be as unbiased as possible. I don't want to really emphasize my personal feelings about this so much, but I think that's going to be impossible. And that's probably why you're watching this video, because you want to know what I think, because this is what I do. If you've followed me for any amount of time, you know that I help men over 50 get in the best shape that they possibly can. So the conversation of testosterone will always come up, and it revolves around, should I get on TRT or not? So let's start there. TRT, you know it stands for testosterone replacement therapy. I want you to just consider that acronym for a second and have that be the framework of how you listen and apply this information that I want to share with you. Testosterone, a hormone that is naturally occurring in a male's body at about 15 times more than it occurs in a female's body. That's basically what separates us. Replacement. We are talking about replacing that hormone with a synthetic exogenous hormone. Regardless of what modality you choose to replace it, you are replacing that hormone that your body can naturally produce, regardless of your age. And this final T, therapy. That is where I have the issue. I don't think that that is true in most uses of this very beneficial hormone that is vital in being a man. But I don't think therapy is the right word, because I believe a lot of people are just using this to justify being what we used to refer to back in the day as being on steroids, right? Because your body does produce steroids. A hormone called testosterone can also be considered a steroid in some walks of life. So you need to really be honest with yourself right now as I move forward as to what your goal is. Do you want to become healthier, or do you want to get jacked and ripped? Both of those are fine. I think health should come first. But if you want to get jacked and ripped, just be honest with yourself. You don't need this as therapy. You're just using it as a steroid to get jacked and ripped. And again, that's totally fine. So with that being said, I believe that there are people who are using this outside of the context of what this really means. And I'll go into that in a little bit here. So again, use this as the framework for how you want to use it. First question you need to ask yourself, do you really need it? So what you're being convinced of on the internet today is that men have lower levels of testosterone now than maybe your grandfather did back when he was your age. So if that's the case, if your grandfather had more testosterone than you do, why? I would say that it's lifestyle driven. Lifestyle is all inclusive. It's not just whether if you drink or not. It's all of the different things that we're exposed to. Environmental stress, emotional stress, endocrine disruptors. Like this is an endocrine disruptor. You put this thing near your balls long enough, it will have a negative effect on your testosterone. So your grandfather didn't have that. So if that is a true statement, what do you need to do differently, lifestyle, to get rid of those things to be more like your grandpa was in the sense of having more testosterone? You follow my logic here? So this is the way I want to approach to this, is just logically. So the next point that they're making on the internet is every man, listen to the words that I'm using, every man after the age of 30, his testosterone will go down by 1% every single year. Well, they didn't measure me. Most likely they didn't measure you. I don't want to be lumped into a category of what I would refer to as average people who aren't doing what I'm going to share with you later in the video, this lifestyle intervention that works regardless of whether or not you are young, old, black, white, tall, short, any of that sort of thing. We really want to make sure that you're not measuring yourself against average people out there in the world. So then right here, this is worth mentioning that there are a subset of men who definitely need testosterone replacement therapy as a therapy. And these men are men who have what is referred to as hypogonadism. You have men who cannot produce testosterone for whatever reason. They're born that way. Maybe there was an injury, something happened, he got kicked in the nuts, or there was cancer or something that caused that man to not be able to produce the amount of testosterone he needs to feel what I love to use the word optimized. You want to feel optimized in your life, and that is the key behind testosterone replacement therapy. So, why are men's levels so low? I mentioned this just a minute ago. You have stress is a big one. I think that's the number one issue that we have in life across the board with anything at all. Stress, I think, is the number one common denominator that all men or anyone on this planet shares that affects any part of their existence on this planet. So stress is a big one. Here's another one that you need to be honest with yourself about: body fat. If your body fat levels are too high, both subcutaneous, just on the outside where you see it, and visceral, this will have a negative effect on your body fat. So this lifestyle intervention that I keep talking about will help you reduce body fat, which will naturally increase your testosterone because there's not an interruption of the natural cascade of hormones that happens along the way. Look, I'm thinking about so many side notes that I could go down, but I'm trying to stay as focused as possible because I don't want to get on a tangent, and I can do other videos on this. If you're interested, let me know. So then the belief right here, I wrote down belief because I'm a big believer that you can increase your testosterone levels naturally. I get trolled on the internet constantly because people tell me, Clark, do you believe just because you believe it's possible? What about all the studies? Fuck you and your studies, man. Yes, I believe belief is more important than any skewed study on the planet because every study that is out there is skewed. The things that we once believed that were not possible and someone proved that it was possible, completely put that data and that belief out the window. Thank God Roger Bannister believed he could run faster than 4 minutes for a mile because now high schoolers are doing this. You see what I mean? So if you believe that it's possible and you do lifestyle intervention and you're consistent with it, then things can change for you. And the reality is whether or not you get on TRT, you will need this same belief and lifestyle intervention to help it work to the best that it can because it's not a miracle. Then, endocrine disruptors. I had mentioned that when I referenced your grandfather. Endocrine disruptors are everywhere around us. I live below these big power lines. I often wonder when I look out there, how much have those power lines affected my endocrine system just by exposure to them? Yesterday, I got radiation put in me because I have cancer, whether you know that or not. So radiation in my body. We get radiation when I was going through the airport to go to Miami. We have these plastic bottles. We have these chemicals that we put on our body or we're exposed to when we're spraying weed killer. Like there are literally so many endocrine disruptors that surround us every single day that when we understand that the lifestyle intervention that I'm referring to, we start eliminating these things, we start increasing the chances of being able to produce our increase our testosterone naturally. So you got to understand that this is not a singular myopic approach. It's a lot of different interventions combined together to increase, no differently than a lot of different interventions combined together caused the decrease. Like all of this stuff added up and more. The business of TRT. This is a huge business. You need to understand this because people are taking advantage of you. They're throwing around these bullshit, studies and statistics like this. Then they're opening up these franchises, and these franchises are designed to trigger you. They're red, black, they got sports memorabilia, they got hot chicks at the counter. They're saying all of these things to get you to come back and be on continuity. Monthly recurring payments to them. They're going to sell you testosterone 1 cc a week, just like they sell it to every other fucking guy that comes in there. They're going to upsell you HCG, which is really hard to get. They're going to upsell you Clomid, which is very toxic to your body over time. And they're going to get you for about $250, $300 a month on auto ship, and they're going to treat every single guy the exact same way. Doctors are prescribing this when they don't need to. Doctors are not prescribing this when they need to because they're not educated enough on this to really make a great decision for you as an individual. So that makes this business of our TRT currently a $2 billion industry. By 2032, it is estimated it will be a $3 billion industry. Please tell me, are there $3 billion worth of men on this planet that need testosterone injected into their body exogenously in some synthetic way? Patch, pill, cream, pellet, shot? Come on, man. Let's just be honest here. It's not. So that goes back to my saying, do you need it? And are you using it as a true therapy? Or are you taking it as something to get you jacked and ripped? And that is where the problem lies. That is where I have the issue. When guys start doing this and usurping their body's own ability to create this cascade of hormones, you're now shutting off your testes. You're creating a slippery slope effect, and you need to be aware of this. This is the only reason for this video. The only reason I'm doing this video is because I want you to be thoughtful. Nowhere ever will you see me say I'm against this. I am for it for guys with hypogonadism. I'm for it with guys with health reasons they need it when it's truly therapy. I'm against it when a 20-year-old gets on it and he says, I'm on TRT. Fuck you, you're not on TRT. You're doing this, you're doing steroids. Just be honest with yourself, because you need to understand 20-year-old, 30-year-old, or even 40-year-old who's doing it with that mindset, I'm on TRT. Bullshit. You're doing steroids. It is a gateway drug. I just paused for effect. It's a gateway drug, in my opinion. When you start doing TRT, you see a little bit of results, you start getting some compliments in the gym, then you find the next drug. And listen to me when I tell you, what you're getting on the street, if you're not getting it from a doctor or a compounding pharmacy, you are getting something that's made in someone's bathtub. I don't care what, listen to me, 20-year-old, I don't care what your buddy's telling you. Hey, we got it from my buddy who knows a guy in Russia. Look at the lot numbers on these labels. You don't think that they can create a fucking fake label on the internet? Come on, man, you live in this world of fake. I'm gonna make a whole nother video about this. So it's a $2 billion industry. There are franchises popping up everywhere. And I talked a little bit about doctors versus gym bros. If you're getting it from a doctor, there's a chance you're getting a good product. If you're getting it from one of these franchises, there's a chance you're getting a good product. If you're getting it from your gym bro, 100% you're getting something fake. That's why you're getting the shit, the acne, and I'll go over the pros and cons here in a little bit. But with the franchises, you need to understand there are shysters out there, guys taking advantage of you. I'm gonna tell you a quick story of a guy, we'll call him Jay. Jay, 44 years old, fit guy, not a bodybuilder, very motivated in life, a business guy, married to the same woman, by his own admission, very sexually active. Testosterone levels at his last blood test were 790 something. Anyone would agree that 800 is a really good number for anyone. That's ideally where most men will be put if they get on TRT. But somebody, a shyster, convinced him he needed to go one of these franchise places and get on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. If you're getting on testosterone replacement therapy, you're getting it to be in shape. He was already in shape. You're getting it to be more sexually active. He was already very sexually active. He wasn't depressed. He had no symptoms that these places throw around to convince you that you need to be on it, yet they put them on it. That to me is a crime. Those people are shysters. They need to be shut down. That is bullshit. Now, they will justify it. Clark, the amount of people that come to me and say, I've got such great results, that might be true, but they use that to justify giving the same bullshit prescription to every guy that comes through, whether they need it or not, because this is a business that totals up to $2 billion. And doctors too. A lot of doctors don't know what they're talking about. If you're going to go to a doctor, go to an endocrinologist. Go to an endocrinologist that has expertise in dealing with this, right? Or go to one of these clinics that's a good clinic. There are good clinics out there. Not everyone is a shyster, but there are good ones out there. Vet these people out before you talk to them. And when you talk to them, ask them about you as an individual. Are you going to put me on the same amount everybody else is getting put on? Like, you need to be treated just like my cancer. I need to be treated as an individual. So side note here, people always troll me, say, Clark, you're on TRT. The only way you can look like that is if you're on TRT. Bullshit. You're weak if you think that, because I've had 40 years of dedication to myself. If you don't think a 5'8", 185-pound guy could look the way I look without TRT or any other gear, as you call it, you're dumb. You're weak. You're a bitch-ass dude is how I refer to it. Even if I wanted to get on TRT, I couldn't because I have prostate cancer and that will feed it. So I'm not that dumb to get on it. So just for the record, I'm not against it and I'm not on it. My thoughts and experience. Well, I just clearly gave you my thoughts. There's therapy or there's wanting to get ripped and jacked. All right? So you need to come up with your definition. What do I want? Do I want to use it as therapy, or do I want to just be honest? And then use it, the true application for that, right? Again, there's nothing bad with wanting to be ripped and jacked. I've lived my life that way. That's the only reason you're watching me. But if you're not doing it for the right reasons, then this is where the problem becomes. If you're starting to usurp your body's ability to create testosterone on its own because you believe you can get there faster with TRT, then you are now entering into an area that I think is dangerous. And anyone who knows anything will agree with me that they think that is dangerous. So pros and cons. Yeah, you can get jacked and ripped. That's a pro. You're getting more horny. There's nothing wrong with that. You're going to lose maybe some fat, possibly. You might have an elevated mood. Maybe you'll sleep better. And maybe you'll get more confidence. The pros will go on, provided you are a candidate who's someone who needs it truly as a therapy, not to get jacked and ripped. So if you're on the other end and you're trying to get jacked and ripped, or even if you are using it as therapy, high blood pressure could be an issue. Thick blood could be an issue. You might get anger or roid rage, as they call it. You could get acne, or maybe it didn't work, right? If you're getting on this because your buddy got on it and he lost a bunch of weight and all of a sudden he was horny and all of a sudden he looked great, your buddy is not you. You will not have the same effect as your buddy. You need to understand this, okay? And then I'll hit you with this last one here, hair loss. If hair loss isn't something that dissuades you from doing this as a jacked and ripped, or at least considering it as something that could possibly happen. I didn't say definitely, possibly happen. Don't take my words out of context at all. People do this. I'm only warning you in advance. Could possibly happen. Like, all of this is possibilities. Nothing is guaranteed. This is not a miracle drug at all. It is needed in the human body. It's what separates. It's what makes you a man. It's a beautiful therapy when used as therapy. So, lifestyle intervention. I have 5 principles. I'm going to go real quick. Mindset. Once again, I said if you believe, it is great. It can help you whether or not you're on it or choose not to get on it, because you don't need to get on this. Not every man needs it. Meals. You got to eat the right food. If you're not eating the right food on it or off it, you're not going to maximize your body's ability just to be jacked and ripped or healthy. Movement. You have to be exercising. In doing the right exercises, compound movements, different things like that. This is another video, okay? Community. Being surrounded by like-minded men will raise your testosterone levels naturally. Pro athletes will tell you that the locker room and being surrounded by other men will raise testosterone naturally. If a woman's menstrual cycle will sync up, so will men's testosterone. If you're around high levels of testosterone and other men, guaranteed it'll go up. People troll me for this all the time. They're just dumb. And then you have mindset, meals, movement, community, and integrity. Live your life with integrity. Like, be honest whether or not you want this as therapy or you want to get jacked and ripped and you're using it as a steroid. This is integrity. This is being just really honest. And look, it's your fucking life. I don't care. I'm just trying to make you aware of some things. This is certainly not everything. Not everything at all. But it is a great thing for you to listen to. I know I went fast. I got to go work out. I'm going to go do a podcast. I got shit to do in my life, and I wanted to keep this as fast as possible. If you want more information, let me know. If you want another video on this specifically, let me know. If I don't know it, and I don't know everything, but I will find it out and I'll do a video on it and try and break it down in lay terms for you, because that's kind of where I excel. I can take complex information and deliver it in a way to people who it makes sense. So if you're looking for data and science and research and you say, Clark, back it up with that, fuck you too, because you've never read a research paper. You just relying on shit that you have no idea whether that's true or not.